folks, we are live. And
Are we
well,
live now?
hi. Oh, we are live. It's happening. It's
I
happening.
live, bitch.
Wait, can someone explain Jim's picture
barely.
to me, please?
Bob? You mean Bob being Bob?
It's
You
just
mean
the word Bob.
The word that says
I'm trying to
Bob.
figure out how to
Is
just
this
display my
is this
name.
Memorex?
That's all I want.
So those are
Bob
English
is Bob.
letters.
Math is math.
Hello?
Math is math. Why do they go changing math? I'm so excited for when my kids have
Who's-
I
homework,
bet you're
and I
so
can just
excited to learn how to do
I should be
Common
still- I should
Core.
blatantly wrong.
Be up.
Oh God, I don't want to do Common Core.
Stuart, are you gonna homeschool?
Ooh, see, you know what? Still up in the air.
Common Core
Oh.
won't be around when your kids are in school.
Hopefully, by the
Still
time
is.
No, it'll be just direct injection. You just,
Oh, dadgummit.
knowledge right into the brain.
Upload it to the brain.
Yeah, you just put on the headset. It's got the blinky lights, and in about 30 seconds, you'll have done a entire class worth of knowledge. Your kid goes into a vegetative state for about 6 hours, and then you've just there you go, education.
I know Kung Fu.
Yeah, Stu wishes his kid would go into a vegetative state for 6
We
hours.
scared
The only
Stu off.
piece he would have.
He said something about one of his kids being unconscious.
Yep,
earlier.
as that's the irony of what Dave was saying. As Stuart literally had to go run off and go see what's up with the kids.
Okay.
I do too. I hope it's all good. Anyway, hello, world, who is definitely watching and listening and now judging us greatly. We're back. It's been just shy of 2 months since we've played D&D, because time is an illusion. Just life is ethereal. And we all have lives that sometimes interrupt our abilities to play Dungeons and Dragons. And like the illustrious Will Byers in Stranger Things says, when can we just play D&D? Hey guys, can we just play D&D now? And that's where we're at. So we are finally back. We're here. So
That was my
2
first
months
child.
ago. Oh, that was your
Sorry.
fur child. It wasn't the
Someone was at the door.
skin child. It was just the fur child. Got it.
Yeah. Someone was at the door.
Someone was at the door at 8 o'clock at night.
We have neighbors that are friends, and they were like, "Hey, where's everybody?" I was like, "They are not here. They're at the other house," and so they had to go.
But I can introduce you to my axe.
Well, no, this isn't. Well, what?
We haven't started playing yet.
I ask questions first, then I shoot.
Oh, okay.
We're
See,
still
stop.
getting answers.
Sorry.
You don't
Stop,
take detective
frisk,
approach.
ask questions, then shoot.
No, it's stop, ask consent, frisk, get their information, disseminate that information to the other people in the room.
Wow.
It's a long process. I'm not going to get into it.
I'm gonna stay with my version and living in the middle of actual nowhere where the police response at fastest recorded time is 28 minutes. You're getting shot.
What's the
shoot
comedian
first,
song
ask
about
questions
You can
later.
get a pizza before you can get an ambulance.
I can't get pizza out here.
Oh,
Sounds like you're
I
dead.
can go outside and scream and no one will hear me.
I don't know. That's
Any violence.
honestly, if there's any marker of failure of capitalism, I think it's the fact that you can't get a pizza quicker than you can get an ambulance.
So it's funny you say that, because the pizzeria is literally 3 buildings down.
I feel like you should say pizzeria with one of these.
Oh,
Hey.
see, it's not the good pizzeria. The pizzeria is in the plaza. That's a shorter. It's a 5-ish minute walk. The pizzeria, Tony's. You go to Tony's Pizza.
Pizzeria. Hey, you gotta
No, you
go
don't-
to Tony's and
you-
get a pizza. Huh? A little
You
bit
know,
of
if you want something that's close to like
pepperoni,
Little
pepperoni
Caesars, that's not
cheese.
really good pizza. You go to
Hey,
Fox's
come
Den,
on,
and you get
Little
your
Caesars.
Little
It's
Caesars
hot
equivalent,
and it's ready.
and it's not
What
even
more
a
are you
town.
asking for?
First of all, neither of you should ever disrespect Little Caesars like that again. Especially you, Stu.
Okay, going from Italian to French, excusez-moi. All right? Because I was promoting Little Caesar's
that
most
really
apt
change the
phrase of being
Italian to
hot
French?
and ready.
That was kind of the same.
Okay, I have a
What language
question.
is excusez-moi?
Both. They're both like
I don't
Latin
think so.
Romantic languages.
I don't
Don't they
think
have
so.
like
Yeah,
half
yeah,
of their
yeah.
words?
But Italian is excusez-moi. You know, it's a different thing.
Okay, so let's do a quiz. Let's find out who is the most qualified to talk smack about Little Caesars. What
I
style
worked at
pizza
Little Caesars
does
for
Little
6 months.
Caesars make?
Square.
Hot and ready style. What are you talking about?
Nope.
The cardboard style.
Cardboard style.
It's made
Shoot,
fresh daily.
it's
all right.
there. It's a city. Metal
Which one you
pan.
wouldn't think
stuff.
of.
Yeah. It's something I would not classify as pizza, but I know exactly. I can picture the entire process that they use to make it, the type of oven that they're using. I just can't remember the name of the dang city.
Italy.
They used to make cars there.
Italy.
Ford?
Detroit style.
Yep.
Yep. There we go.
It's Italy. It's Italy. Italy is the city you're thinking of.
No.
Okay,
was never
but
good at
I've been to
geometry, I'm
Detroit
sorry.
and I don't remember seeing any Little Caesars there.
You can tell.
That's because
by
you
the
can just get
bullet holes in
Detroit
the
style
top of the
pizza.
We're talking about. Sorry, hold on. We're talking about something. Which Little Caesars do you go to? It's not true. It's not true Detroit style. It's Detroit adjacent. It's just sparkling pizza at that point. It's sparkling breadsticks. All right. Unless it came.
Okay.
Unless it came from the South Side version of Detroit.
We have taken such a turn. We have taken such a turn with this.
Sorry, I'll turn my fan on.
DM, let's recap what we did 2 months ago.
Thanks, Sam, for keeping us on track. Anyway, 2 whole months ago, which in game time was, literally yesterday. The party continued their explorations into parts of the atrium. Bob. Jim plays Bob. Bob, in his spider form, made his way down a shaft that appears to have some sort of mechanisms involved, but party couldn't figure out all the moving parts. Creeped along and found himself in a strange control room type space. But before being able to explore very much, was interrupted by a humanoid entity that was creeping its way through the door and trying to squeeze its body through. Noping the heck out of there, Bob climbed back up and was like, "Hey, there's stuff down there that I can't read and don't know what to do with." And party was like, "Okay, guess we're gonna just leave then." As the party continued on and worked its way back down one of the tunnels following the vein of fungal pulsations, really.
Oh dear.
I know. I say pulsations because it really did start as like, oh, it's like an orangey color, and then it got redder, and then it was, as you guys were approaching, there started to be like a purple streak in the flow above as
Can
what
you provide
started off
hand
as...
movements for this description, please?
Oh, you want all the gesticulations? Cool. So what was the lichen along the walls has turned into a large vein across the ceiling. And the pulsation of light as you guys walk and the trailing
Hey, this
of
is a PG show. Careful where you're going there.
coloration.
Yeah, those
Is this
pulses-
PG? I didn't realize that
Content
any of this
warnings
was
can be
PG. Didn't
found in
we
the
open with an
description.
F-bomb?
We did.
Oh yeah, we did.
Pretty
Never
much.
mind.
We pretty
Keep
much
Would
going.
have
did.
started with the B bomb. Bill O'Reilly.
So if-
May he rest in peace.
We'll do it
Uh,
live.
You can Tuckle Carlson your way... Tuckle Carlson. Yeah, you can Tuckle Carlson your way out of here. I can words. Wow. Gosh, it's going to be a hell of a night. Vein.
Better than a no
Red.
on the light.
Purple. That is true. Gosh, I'm so sorry, Grady, when you have to edit this later. There was a purple trailing in the energy and the coloration of the vein in the ceiling above. And you realize that it was working its way to get ahead of you. And as you reached a column, cistern-like shape cylinder in the rock that went way up into the ceiling. The vein began to move sharply upwards, and you can see way up above there appears to be a branching network, an expansion of whatever this connected entity is. Clore, with his quick thinking, was like, we need to make sure that purple doesn't get up with the rest of this, and fired a bolt and severed it, spraying himself and in some of the innards of this fungal vein, and suffered a very uncomfortable trip for 45 seconds or so, in which he had a very uncomfortable experience re-interacting with his lost friend Theo. Upon recovering and coming to his senses, the rest of the party realized that, hey, we may have severed this, but the fungal slime is definitely trying to figure its way out and figure its way around, and you basically decided to just hightail it back out. Upon making it back to the grotto, where the air is clean and the walls don't seem ready to attack you, you took a rest. And Clore, you had another dream, except this time it was peaceful, and you got to kind of sort of feel good about a goodbye moment with Theo after having such a harrowing interaction with him hours before. The last decision that the party and realization, mostly due to DM error, was that you guys realized, hey, there's nothing really preventing us from, going back the way we came. You have continued, the party has prioritized doing a lot of exploration, and I will take the hit on that one as the DM, where I took a question that was asked about how to get out of here in the context of we are rolling forward with the exploration, when I should have taken it at face value and said, hey, you can always go backwards. So that was on me, and I will try to be clear about these things in the future. That's where we left off. Everyone has had a long rest, a long, much-needed rest, and it's a new day deep down in the dark.
New day, new outlook on life.
Or unlife.
Go into the cave, we said. Let's figure out where it goes, we said.
Look, I'm still interested in the control room, honestly.
No, we're leaving.
But just hear me out. Like, what if?
No, I will not actually.
Burned out. Don't care anymore.
Yeah, you know
Did
what?
that,
Honestly,
saw the consequences.
my green complexion is getting a little pallid. I need to see some sun. It's summer now in the real world,
And here comes the sun.
and I gotta let these puppies breathe. These puppies being my glorious thighs.
Well, I don't know the way out because I never.
I'm blinded by the
walked in,
glorious
so
eyes.
I'll follow y'all's
most people
lead.
are.
I guess I'll
Huh?
leave.
Yeah, I'm following whoever's moving onwards and upwards.
Wait, we're going backwards and downwards to go back upwards.
Yeah.
Like the net positive though will be going upwards.
Closer to
please.
the exit is the.
Yes.
Are we sure we're not closer to the edge on this?
I just can't help myself at all. I'm living on the edge.
And you did lose a player, so the party is about to break.
Saw what you did.
I just took you one step closer.
Everything you say to me is pushing me one step closer to the edge.
I would quote from the Gnat by Kansas, but nobody would get it, even though they're, close. Or Yes did an entire album called Close to the Edge.
Well, don't push me because I'm close to the edge.
Okay, cool.
Oh, Happy Feet.
And
10
who
out of
has
10
children in this
reference.
group?
I'm so sorry. I need to be better at muting myself
When he dies.
When as he's literally just dying on camera. All right,
it's fine.
well,
Oh,
so who
pens
who
in
wants to
front.
lead the way? Pens in front.
And
Pens in front.
Luckily,
I'm
Pen.
following the horns.
It's been a pretty it's a pretty straightforward path
Uh-huh.
to make your way back out.
It all seems familiar.
It really does.
Always the sunlight.
There was an echoey noise there. All right. What was I going to say? Okay, so moving backwards. Judging by how long it took for you guys to get down here, it's better part of a day, assuming you guys don't run into any real conundrums to hit basically the area that you had met up with the small family way back when. Well, really for you guys it's been like only a couple of days, but there was the small family, mother, father, 2 children,
don't remember them.
one a little bit sickly.
Hello, mother.
We didn't pass anyone.
Father.
Oh, the ones we robbed blind.
Hey, I tried to get the kid healed up, and you guys were just like having nothing to do with it.
I left him some gold, I think.
I guess rob blind was maybe a little bit aggressive.
complete.
Reallocated. They
You robbed
paid their
them blind.
taxes. Wait, what?
We just collected early for, safety reasons. We're the protection. We made sure nothing's coming after them.
Yeah, you're like Luigi's protection service. Lucky
They live.
Luciano's protection service.
They live in a
Wait.
society, and that
What did y'all
society
do
has
to
cost.
this family?
We
Don't
robbed.
say all like you. Oh wait, no, you weren't there.
I was, in fact, not.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
So,
aware.
so Penn robbed him blind.
I don't think it was only me, question mark.
Nah, it probably was.
Definitely wasn't.
It sounds like something you would do, though.
Definitely seems like you instigated it.
Rinningham, I don't really trust anything you say to me right now, so I kind of believe Penn here.
Anything
You
I
still
say to
killed
you,
my
especially
only
you one step
friend.
closer.
If it's anything,
dang
you
it.
can always trust me to be honest. I'll be honest about everything that I've done. Yes, I walked away with a couple of things, but I didn't leave everything, Rinningham.
You'll be honest.
I did leave everything. I could have taken so much more.
Penn,
Probably.
did you say
I
you'll
mean, if
be
they
honest
had
about
more, but they
anything?
didn't. So
I mean, you can only carry so much.
How did that train fall off the tracks then, if we're being honest about everything?
So like I know that in real life that was like so long ago. So I really want to be surprised by the deep cut. But realistically, that was like what, last week?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can change, yeah.
We can change.
You mean the train
Change?
failure? What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
The train failure, that was in game. That was,
Who could
what,
have?
10 days ago ish?
Who could have seen it coming?
Yeah, the one that no one still has admitted to.
I mean, it was a
we're all
natural
being-
disaster.
But
Who
we're all
would
Wait, are
being
you asking
honest.
me this as Clore, or are you talking to me out of character? I'm very confused.
No, I'm asking you as
Clore has
Clore.
no suspicions that
Clore doesn't
Penn did
know.
anything. No one was around. There's 100% no chance that anything could have been discovered about Penn yet.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought we all knew, but we were hiding it from Theo because he couldn't handle the truth.
They don't have
What?
forensics.
And now Theo's gone. So
No, literally none of you know. None of your characters know I did that.
oh,
I was bleeding.
Yeah.
out, I think
Penn had
from
been
a
hanging
rock.
behind, and
oh no, I was hiding the fact that I killed that person
Correct.
from Theo. Never mind. I got that
Oh.
mixed up.
yep,
Oh,
you
now who's
you were hiding.
things?
Yeah. Come on,
I've
Clore.
never pretended
Everyone's
to
got
hide.
skeletons in the closet.
I've never.
Pens
pretended
are
not
just
to hide
literal.
things.
It's fine.
And
We
So
have fun.
Pen starts whistling as we're walking out of this cave.
What's the tune? Is it Papa Roach?
Yeah. American Dreams, man.
All right. This is how this campaign works. Okay. So Pen is leading the way, and as you make your way out of the grotto and down the somewhat familiar path, you've only been down this way once. The other paths you've gone down a couple of times because near-death experiences will scare the bejesus out of you like that. I'm just calling it as it is.
Near death. We're all near death.
The noticeable element outside of just the fact that it's just a nice, comfy, greenish, blue, teal fluctuation of lichen glowing comfortably. The entire hallway as you've been walking is filled with a comfortable dim light. The lichen itself appears to be helping with other fungal growths. You start seeing like little tiny mushroom caps are here and there. The pathway itself seems still relatively clear, but some of the little flat protrusions of other fungal mass, and this hallway before just was covered in lichen, and you didn't experience like the smells of the earthy, comfortable, clean air until you reach the grotto. And now that sort of sensation continues onward, and you see little pockets where these other fungal protrusions have little glows and colors of their own, similar to the mushrooms in the center of the grotto, except instead of just different caps, you have just other.
How many mushrooms did we eat?
I'm not affected.
I say Pen is the only one who has eaten any mushrooms.
And they all
Okay.
had no effects at this time.
Okay, just checking.
this time.
Wait,
Wanted
wasn't
to
I
confirm
carrying
that.
like someone's hand or fingers?
Yes, you're carrying like a finger, or either I'm carrying it or you're carrying it
I think I have it.
We're all carrying it right here.
in our heart.
So Pen's curious, and Pen wants to take the technically dead finger that's been severed and wants to place it on a patch where these little mushrooms are maybe grouping and the fungus is around.
Little
He wants to
fairy
see what
ring.
happens if he puts dead flesh near it and wants to watch it if it does something to it.
So,
There's
if I remember
something.
correctly, this finger is from one of the husks that you guys had fought, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That finger's going to the market.
This little piggy stayed home. So as you place it, do you put it on the ground? Do you kind of like try to find a spot in the wall? Like how do you do this? How you doing this?
Pen would kneel down and look to see if there's like a grouping of the licheny fungus moss kind of that looks convenient to like, if I were to put this here, can I watch it do something?
Okay, so near the crease of the floor and the walls, where the silty soil that has like a soft, light sponginess to it as you continue to walk down, there's a little spot where you can kind of see where, oh, hey, there's a little extra stuff growing into the pathway, and you kind of set it right on top there. And how long are you gonna watch? What do you give me an investigation check? How's that? Just give me an investigation check. It would help if I pulled up your character sheets.
22.
That's not it. 22. All right. So it doesn't take terribly long. Similar to when you see people who like grow bean plants, and the vines kind of reach out and you can like hold your finger out and they'll slowly wrap their way around your finger.
The little spinners.
Yeah. That doesn't take more than about a minute and a half for you to start seeing little tendrils reach up. But instead of gripping onto it like it had started to do with poor Theo, they kind of push it, and you can kind of see it slowly starts to roll the fungus, the fungal finger. I'm trying to figure out the best way of describing it. It just slowly starts to kind of roll it, and it moves off. It over the course of about a 2.5, 3 minutes, it just rolls off the patch. But you can see little protrusions that are pushing it and trying to get it off of the licheny growth and onto the silty ground.
I pick it back up and put it back in my pocket where it was.
Okay. And then the protrusions just kind of like stay there. They're like little like wispy, fingery. They just kind of like stay there.
And I I want to use my pinky finger and touch the little tendrils carefully.
Okay. And you carefully touch the little tendrils, and they just kind of initially they kind of recoil. Do you hold your finger there and just kind of keep it there?
Yep.
They do slowly begin to kind of reach up, and you can feel them softly touching, like 1,000 tiny little like guppies. You know, if they're sucking at your toes, it's that kind of sensation. Just a bunch of them little, just kind of poking at your finger.
You tell
It
me
doesn't
this fungus
hurt.
sucks toes?
I'm telling you, you can try to find out.
I take both shoes off. No, that's wrong.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. Roll me a Constitution saving throw with advantage.
Roll the dice.
$10.
With advantage, so roll.
Yeah, I did. The other one's a 5.
Oh, okay, weird. The 10 didn't show up on the thing. Okay. Well, conveniently, that's plenty. You feel a faint numbness on your fingertip, kind of where they've been all poking at, and then they kind of just shrink back down into the lichen.
The
Your
urge
fingertip
to
is
take
a
this
little bit
moss
numb.
with me is so strong.
Do you?
No. But I pull out my journal and I document as much as I can very quickly about all the attributes I can quickly see on this fungus and what I have learned as we're kind of shuffling forward.
All the toe sucking potential.
I make down all of my notes about this lichen.
Okay.
No, you would like it.
So I'm going to pull the DM card and say, if you're gonna write down notes, you should write down real notes, because unless you have the keen mind feat, I'm not going to just magically be like, hey, yes, you do remember this thing from a month ago.
Don't we have like a note section in
Yes, it's on your character sheet.
I think so.
There's
notes?
Yeah. It's important to take the notes and stuff.
Where do I edit? Come back.
Never let go, Jack. All right. So Pen quickly, you see, takes notes. Holding your pencil is a little bit funny because your fingertip is still numb and seems to be a lingering sensation. And as you finish wrapping that up and putting your notebook away, you can kind of see that there's little tiny white spots on your fingertip where they were touching, and they're like little pin size, just little spots.
Her pinkies become so numb, so much more aware.
Is it insecure? Anyway, yes, you take down all the notes that that matter to you. Anything else while you guys are stopped and looking at the growths?
I didn't know if everybody else stopped or if we just. Hey, Penn, what do you? Quit touching shit.
I just need to.
Ri-
It's unique. I need to just make sure I understand it.
Yeah, my toes are your neat tucked toes.
Stick your toes in it and see what happens then.
I'm not sticking my toes in it. I'm saying my toes are unique. You should touch them. My
Well, put
feet
your
are
toes in it.
barking. We've been under these caves for a while. I've been walking for so long.
I've carried you.
Not enough. My feet hurt.
Rittingham, point of order. You are the one who said Penn should go first, and Penn was in front of you. So
Yeah, but then they stopped. But then they stopped. So like,
yes, so that's when you would have been watching the whole time.
I know it.
Anyway, as you guys continue down this tunnel, the extra life and the extra growth continues for quite a while before it slowly becomes less and less, and you are back to the green lichen just kind of on the walls, keeping the glow. And then before long, even that begins to slowly kind of fade off into relative darkness. So Penn is in front. Penn has dark vision.
Correct.
Tunnel continues to be
vision.
familiar. Well, as Penn was in front, so that's
Yeah.
So Penn and Bob, you're right. You guys are able to continue onwards and don't see anything really out of place, out of order as you go through the dark tunnel. Clore, do you have dark vision?
I do.
Okay, you do. Okay,
Yeah, but he
cool.
just calls it vision. I'm sorry.
Boo.
Wait, Penn's gonna just stop suddenly and make Rittingham run into the back of him.
Hey, what? My face went right in your butt.
You're not that tall.
Well, then why do your calves smell like this?
I don't know if you could see where you're going. Should
My
we
mouth
get
was
Bob
open
to be
and
your
everything.
seeing eye
Why
dog
don't
for
you-
a while?
Tiefling ass has a very particularly pungent smell that apparently travels down the calves.
Oh, you think the tail would have alerted me? Oh. Ooh, what'd you stop for?
To see if you needed a guide dog. We could ask Bob.
I'll just hold on to your tail from now on. And I pick up the tail.
And we continue walking.
Yep. And I'm holding it like a leash almost. Like kind of out in front.
Penn does a little sachet and ends up like throwing Rittingham to like one side a
Going
foot.
back and forth.
Okay, how strongly are you kind of swaying him back and forth here?
Oh, we're drag queening this. We are taking all of our
If you
lessons.
don't
and
think I'm
walking down
rolling
the
opposed
catwalk.
athletics, I'm rolling opposed athletics.
All right, roll me an athletics check, Penn and Rittingham. Okay,
So here's the thing.
So about that.
our dice. It's a funny little thing. So they have a numbers between 1 and 20.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you roll them, there's the chance that the value that comes up is less than ideal. So and we call those values natural, right? This I'll tell you what, I didn't roll a 2. That's a 1.
So that's a 1 before your -1 in athletics.
That's a natural. So
It's a nat 0.
It's a
So
0.
it's a 0.
We're gonna put that back there and pretend like nothing happened. No, nothing happens.
that
funny,
I
like,
went to
ha-ha.
jail.
Pulls out of my hand, and we laugh about it.
So Penn, do you want to share with the class what you rolled?
Penn rolled a 12.
That sounds more than 0.
That was
But
with my -1 modifier.
if math has taught us anything, so that you can just make shit up.
Strangely enough, that is in fact something that math has taught us.
They have
So
imaginary numbers.
Pen, I'm gonna let you set the limits on how this plays out, considering you are the one that now has a green Verdun mass holding onto the end of your tail that you are now going to describe.
So Pen's walking like he completely owns this cave. It's his catwalk now, and he's gonna make sure that everyone behind him knows about it that can see him. And with Rinningham holding on to the tip of his tail with both little hands, because goodness knows he's gonna get lost or lose his grip if he only has one hand holding on. And it's a big tail, folks. You have to have some hold on it. It's gonna take two hands. And with a nice big swoop, Rinningham's gonna go up into the air a little bit and then just back down, and then startled but didn't let go of his grip, of course. He's gonna get swooped to the other side.
Yeah, naturally. A lot of
Or maybe a couple more times, just little swoops, not throwing him into the wall, not dragging him across the floor, just enough to be like, can you please stop me?
It's a game. We have fun. We're playing.
Rinningham, give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, dear Lord. I can do dexterity. That's fine. We're looking at a big, solid. Hey, 8. Huh?
8 on the die or 8 total?
8 total.
So worse than it could have been. All right.
Yeah, see? Wait, no, better than it. Better.
It is a struggle to keep your footing as Penn is whipping you around. Every couple steps you're taking, you're just you're kind of flung an extra, couple of inches, and it's like when you're going downstairs and you forget that there's one more step, and so you just kind of like, oh, or the times that you expect there to be a step and there's not, and so you kind of hit that the ground harder than it's just that over and over and over. It's you are still standing, but it is a very uncomfortable experience.
I'm still standing. Yeah.
You are, in fact, still.
I don't know where they're coming from. I'm sorry.
You beat me to it.
I know.
It's just you beating me to it because I'm like, I have so many things in his head going on all at the same time. I'm like, I need to tell the story and not go off on the anyway. Clore and Bob, you get to watch as Penn is putting on a bit of a show, just kind of like accentuating all of the motions, and you are watching as poor Rinningham, all 2.5 feet of him or however tall he is being, kind of flopped around quite emphatically.
Unceremoniously.
I wonder if I'm supposed to tip for this.
I do accept.
just the tip, Bob.
Hey! I see where you're going. What it takes anyway. So anyhow, yeah, I'm just going to spectate and observe, and then continue on down my merry way as if nothing had ever happened.
Okay. You guys continue onward, unless Clore has anything to also interject with.
No, I'm 36 hours removed from my only friend in the world dying, so I'm just going to continue walking. Contemplate how it was
36 whole hours. My
gosh.
gosh.
We were in this position in the first place.
He's keeping count.
Will you get over it already?
I mean, minimum 24.
Well,
he was kidnapped.
The bad trip and then the
He's not even a kid.
Didn't help.
He was napped.
That is true.
We all had a nap. It's called a long rest.
Keep talking. I'll show you a long rest.
Ooh, promise.
I really wish that was in character.
There would be a riot of midgets.
Yeah, you and what army?
I said promise.
Different. That was out of character. All right, it was a reference.
Isn't that the Lollipop Army? Or no, that's the Lollipop Guild. My bad.
Which
I
honestly,
mean, semantics.
where do they get the funding?
Well, they get it from selling all the chocolate that they steal from Willy Wonka.
They actually wash the backs of tiefling calves.
That's why they're so poor.
Yeah, because obviously they're not very good at it.
The running lore now includes the fact that tiefling calves smell like ass. All right.
Like what you would imagine ass to smelling.
Can
Having
we
never
just
smelled
all
ass.
also recognize what we had to swim through to get to Clore? Like, we're not forgetting that part of the cave adventure,
Swam
are
through
we?
an ocean of tiefling calves.
Oh, I have no idea what you swam through actually because I
Yeah, you got captured early.
was in a tunnel.
Getting
So
imagine getting bonked on the head.
Pen just calls back. Clore, are you okay with swimming in less than ideal liquids?
does it
Ooh.
lead
oddly suggestive.
out of the cave?
Yeah.
Then yes.
Great.
Yes.
Glad we got that squared.
So,
So we keep walking.
Pen, you continue onwards, and you find yourself at a semi-familiar T-junction, where if you continued straight, you know you end up where a use of sparks seemed to cause a rather vibrant reaction from the ceiling. Or you can turn and continue on your way, you know, the known path outwards.
I'm going the known path outwards.
Okay. It's a wise decision, but I was just curious to see what would happen if you guys went back into the Sparky Sparky Boom Boom Hall. More Sparky Sparky Boom Booms, because, you know, you guys can't seem to avoid it.
Some people have learned their lesson. I don't know who that
Have
is,
they,
but
though?
I've heard that some people have. Yeah,
Have they, though? That's the real question.
I hear legends of people who
Brenningham, are your feet sweaty? I could use a detour.
are my feet sweaty. What did you? You know, that's an oddly personal question. My feet, probably yes. Actually, if I had to guess, having not taken off my boots in quite a while, because some people have an aversion to toes. Apparently,
You should go the other way. You can let us know how that room is.
I'm trying to get out of here. I need the sun. Look at my complexion. I should be green. I'm pale at best.
Pen
The
looks
irony
him
of
over, even though he can't see, like, he knows Renningham can't really see him, but he looks him over and he just is like, yeah, so much for key lime. You're turning like seaweed. Dried seaweed.
Very dry. I'm coming off in flakes.
This is some very interesting Verdan lore that I didn't know about. About
You know what?
their-
We're discovering it together. 'Cause I didn't just kind of.
We'll add that, or at the very least, it's Rinningham's apparent, you know, needs for sunnage, because apparently his skin gets seaweed green, which I imagine as a darker color than a lighter color, but he is getting paler, but also flaking.
Or maybe I am getting darker, and I think that it's like I've only heard that people get pale underground, but I've never been underground long enough to actually know what would happen to my skin.
The
My skin
Verdan is
is
turning
actually-
darker.
My skin is actually getting darker because the sun bleaches it a little bit.
Huh.
Wait, so Verdans are photosynthetic.
I love it.
We're
They have
photopathetic.
chloroplasts. That's what I'm hearing.
I'm hearing you can make miso soup out of them.
Oof.
Oh no.
Renningham, do you like soup?
I mean, it depends on the contents, but generally, I could say I'd appreciate a good liquidy bowl of things.
Yes, I bet when you cook, you make a fine stew.
I know many a
Anyone
fine
eating
stew, but I don't know if I've ever had a fine stew.
Fine stew.
There's some other meta jokes we could go with this.
I don't know.
Fire.
So you guys continue down the hallway.
It's hard to make it down
Segways,
the
fantastic form of transportation. They'll revolutionize the industry. So you guys continue down the hallway as Penn leads you back the way you came. And before long, off in the distance, you can see a faint glowing light. Has a yellowy orange kind of flickering, kind of like firelight. Way off in the distance. Rinningham,
Like
you
firelight
just
or
see a very tiny orange speck off in the distance. For those with dark vision, it has a bit more kind of fluctuation to it because dark vision is not IR but close to IR because they've changed the lore.
Pardon.
Gesundheit.
We continue towards the light.
I mean, yeah.
I
Keep
mean,
going.
that's
Let's
how
do it.
bugs get zapped. But all right. Continuing forward, the fluctuations in color appear to change, and slowly are getting redder as you continue to approach, and you realize that the glow is actually coming from
Inside the
sections
house.
of the ceiling and the wall, and the only thing that's actually seeming to create any sort of pulsation is coming from within the archway, the doorway off to the side. You guys are now about 60 feet from this doorway. And you
And
can
there's
see
a giant
Rinningham.
blazing column of fire?
No, it's more like there is a source of red light that is somewhat familiar, sticking to the ceiling and the walls near the door. But there is a pulsing, emanating light coming from within the doorway.
Don't tell me the thing is back.
What thing?
Do
Isn't
you
this
guys
what
just
color the lichen was when we had to fight the spider giant that you hit?
You're asking the wrong person.
I mean, it's just a door with pulsing light on the other side. Has anyone tried knocking?
And
You guys are about
his
60
tail
feet
and
from
points Rinningham in the direction of the door. Be my guest.
Oh, I mean, the door's closed.
No, the door's open. That's where some of the light is kind of coming in from. Your guys are about 60
it's
feet
making
away
it-
from it.
Okay.
Penn, you know that this should be the door to where the family had been staying.
I think we should go to the light.
Going to the light.
You think we should or shouldn't?
Let's
Really
try
need to
to-
enunciate, Ben. It becomes you. You can be better about
Half
that.
of us can go towards the pulsing light, and the other half can go towards the doorway.
I thought
They're in
I'm
the same
going the
direction.
of out.
Oh, was that the joke, Penn? That they're going the same? They're both the same direction. When you said half of
That's
us
what I
can
thought.
go towards the door and half
That's
towards
what I
the
thought
glowing
the
light.
joke was.
I'm sorry. You can tell I'm not shuffling with a full deck today. That's just one of those days.
That's okay. I'm not even shuffling.
I will make my way to the door.
Make my way to the door.
Can you make me a perception check?
Would you like us to give you 3 steps, mister?
I can give you a perception check.
I appreciate that one, Jim.
Thank you.
Just give him 3 steps. You won't see him.
Ooh,
That's it.
5.
The lichen on the ceiling and on the walls definitely looks like the red angry stuff that you are familiar with. The glowing light from the doorway definitely reminds you of flickering torchlight. As you slowly approach the doorway, you are able to basically just see inside that there doesn't appear to be any movement.
All right, I'll sneak my head in there and step in.
Are you actually being stealth? Are you doing this? You going in? You going in?
I mean, no, it looks like there are. Yeah, it looks like there are. Something is happening, so definitely stealthing in.
All right.
Oh. Everybody.
You guys watch as Clore crouches down, slowly getting ready to make his way in.
14 stealth.
Okay.
That was a stealth roll.
So you guys watch as he kind of slowly makes his way into the room. Clore, behind some of the boxes and barrels that had been in this room and some of the shelves, you can see on the ground the source of the flickering light appears to be a torch. And beside the torch, huddled in the corner, connected to what appears to be a wall of lichen that has grown into the ceiling and has started to breach into the hallway, you see 4 huddled mounds kind of conglomerated together, each with a slightly different texture.
Do these look like mushroom people? Is the
We're
word
not doing that.
saute going to come up?
Are they shiitake people? Who knows?
More like sought bean.
Can I go up to the mounds and kind of see what they are?
I mean, yeah. Roll me an investigation check.
More of an almond joy guy myself.
17.
As you approach, you can see that the structure appears to be growing and connecting and slowly thickening. In the center most, there appears to be the smallest entity. Also appears to have the densest and the closest to the bark-like skin of the husks that you've faced off with. Next to it, kind of sort of attached, is a little bit more yellow, a little bit taller than it, mound that appears to be stuck to it. Less barky, the progressively smoother covering, and next to it is, or really kind of sort of wrapping around it, is a larger one that's even lighter, and this one you can still make out roughly where the head would be on a humanoid shape, as the other one on the other side. It's not hard to piece together that these are the children in the middle, the mother and father holding onto them, molding into the corner and slowly congealing together in some form. And you can see now in your presence, the lichen continues to spread visibly, slowly, but visibly along the walls. Red and accenting the flickering torch.
Yeah, I mean, having never been like in this room before? Can I tell how they died, or if they were just kind of slowly taken over? Or...
Wait, can I interrupt?
Sure.
So has Clor been standing there for like at least 30 seconds?
Thereabout. Yeah.
Okay, so Pen's gonna like saunter kind of in, like, because clearly Clor has not been attacked by anything. He's just gonna walk in and like kind of come up next to Clor and look at them and be like, "Oh, they were just alive like a day ago."
You know these people?
We passed by them on our way down here to find you,
Oh,
but they were alive and well when we passed by.
maybe you guys could have said something as I snuck into this room to try and figure out what it was.
You seem to have it handled.
So how did they die?
Beats me. They were doing fine when we left.
Aren't you like the
I know,
medicine person? Don't you know these things?
We were on the run from another incident someone had caused. And looks over at Renningham.
I hear someone saying something about an incident someone caused, and I come in to the room as well, and I see the people, the people dead, and I said, well, if only didn't they have some medicine around here? I thought they had something to keep them safe from. They knew stuff about the fungus. I thought, no, is it? Am I misremembering who these people are? Were they someone else?
We didn't chat for very long. We were trying to get away.
Well, that's unfortunate. And I go up and investigate them. Do they seem like at what stage of decomposition? Do they seem like maybe it was like recently?
Like it's advanced because they're being eaten by a fungus.
Yeah. But I mean, we've seen like fungus, fungus people before. How far along do they look in comparison to like the husks that we fought?
So this is actually where Clor's Clor, give me a nature check. And Renningham, you can aid it if you want, but I need to quickly go and get my cat out of my closet and climbing up my things. I'll be right back.
Do you want me to roll with advantage, or do you want both of us to roll?
You roll, and then I roll. I think also a d20, and then he based on the numbers that we roll.
Yes, you each roll a d20, and then it's just a matter of whether or not your assistance.
I got.
Well, actually, you gave him Okay.
That's what I thought. That's what I was asking, if he was giving me advantage.
I mean, that is a way of doing it. So actually, that's not a bad way of doing it. So that'll be easier. Clor, just roll another die. Not that you kind of, smash the.
That's fine. I don't like rolling anyway.
21.
Can you do something for me?
No.
Well, you said 21.
I know. I understood the reference.
You have to. You have to. No. Okay.
Blackjack, right? You got blackjack. So, Renningham, you're looking at this, and you remember that the smallest child was sickly.
Classic. Kids are always sick.
Right? They just. It's not hard to discern that, hey, maybe the smallest one that seems to be the most progressed into what's going on may have been, sick boy.
Yeah.
Clor, what stands out to you is that you have witnessed an aggressive transformation in motion. And this looks distinctly different because that was actively pursuing a mobile entity that could go after you, where this appears to be just a just congealed pile of four masses that are, two of which are more humanoid looking than the other two. But
So
they
it doesn't
are
look like it's going in that direction. Oh, like
no,
it
it does not look
eventually
like it's
could.
going in the same
Right.
direction that
This is a
that you.
different. Um. Okay. Is there anything we can do to help them, or do we need to move on? I ask the group.
Pen shrugs. I think the moss has it from here.
Yeah, I mean, outside of looking around, and I kind of I look around the room to see what all is in there, or if the moss is pretty much kind of crawling over everything, and it just kind of looks kind of bleh at this point.
So this room looks like there was a struggle
Oh,
where there were bed rules kind of laid out in a somewhat normal fashion. They're tussled about. There's cups and utensils kind of kicked over. There's random pieces of food, some of which have the red lichen kind of growing on the food. The shelves, some of them have been knocked over. There's a lot of chaos where before it was, hey, this looks like people are living in a storeroom. This is something went on in the storeroom.
Wait, the lichen wasn't in here when we came by the first time.
Yep, but the boy was sick.
Yeah, but the lichen's grown that much in the time that we were inside of it that it managed to get all the way over here that fast?
We've been down here a lot longer than we think. We did the time warp. Hey, is that lightning I saw?
everybody do the time.
Let's do the time warp again. So, Pen, give me a nature check. Actually, you also would fit for this.
See, I was gonna wait until and until everybody got done and go, did anybody think about asking the druid who knows nature and medicine any of this? Okay, did you want nature and medicine or just nature? Or just medicine?
It depends on what you are. You could do either. You could do both. Depends on exactly what you want to.
Let's start with nature to see if we can figure out what's going on here.
All right, and while you're rolling, we'll cover real quick what Penn has. Actually, you guys are both now basically going to discern the same-ish type thing. You guys had been through a very dark section of tunnel for hours before reaching here. I realize now in hindsight that we skipped past the salt tunnel, but really nothing of note would have happened there in the glowing, pale gray salt tunnel that was.
Are you kidding? Somebody would have rubbed their eyes and it would have sucked.
Oh, that is true. So I then on my bad. I missed that. I skipped that on the map. But it's been a distinct distance since you have last interacted with these growing lichen on the walls or anything like that. So this definitely stands out as a, hey, yeah, this wasn't here before, and it's not connected to the rest of where you've been thus far.
Okay.
We should proceed carefully.
Pen wants to do an experiment.
Then I'm going to do a medicine check.
All right.
After the experiment
away.
Experiment?
So, Pen has gloves on. And, does anyone have a small little glass vial I can use and maybe not give back?
Well, I do have an ink bottle, but I've been saving it to write my memoirs and all the adventures that we've been going on.
I'll buy you more ink.
Promise?
Promise.
Show me both your hands.
Pen pulls out a gold piece and hands it to him. Can I have the ink?
Yep, here it is.
Woo!
It's a 1 ounce bottle, so it's not like big at all. Oh, but so as I hand you the tiny little 1 ounce ink bottle, I catch another whiff of your calves, and cough a little bit. I say, "Wow, man, being down here sure does a number on people." And I take out a flask of or a vial of perfume, and I just kind of spray it, or I don't know, it's a vial. I unstopper it, and I
Dab
kind
it,
of get
you
my
know,
wrist
just little.
out. I dab it on the wrists, and I rub it together, and I put a few dots behind my ears, and one on the tip of my particularly bulbous nose. And I take a nice deep breath. Much better.
Word.
And just opens the ink bottle and carefully pours and shakes all of the ink out of it till it's empty. Anyway, ignoring Rittingham, he turns away after he's paid him and uses his gloves. He reaches down with his pocket knife and just goes to a patch of lichen that is clearly thriving, but kind of, a small enough piece to fit inside the bottle safely.
Not quite flirty or flirty.
What?
I was gonna say there's even some that's growing on like some of the food remnants. Would that be a
Sure. If there's a piece of food remnant that's small enough to fit inside the bottle so he doesn't have to use a knife on it, that'd be even better. If not,
roll
I
me
can
an investigation check? You kind of try to roughly gauge
11.
what all's going on. You're able to find one that, with gentle persuading with the ink bottle, and you're realizing that, the ink is still kind of like, you got some drops in there still, and you're trying to nudge it in there with the knife, and you don't have to cut it, but you do have to kind of nudge it into the little thin neck, because it's meant for like a quill.
Yeah,
Go
he
in.
uses the knife instead of his fingers to carefully kind of stuff it with it. And then puts the
All right.
stopper on that piece so that it's contained.
So as it goes into the ink or into the vial, and you do notice that the little tendrils try to like hold on to the tip of the knife as it falls into the vial, and then you plug it with a stopper.
If I look up at it, is it still currently just kind of exploring its environment and not doing much? Or is it
is
actively
mostly
dying?
It's mostly attached to the food, and so it just kind of appears to see like the little things that had gripped the tip of the knife are just now kind of like swaying. They're still bright red though.
Okay, so Pen pockets that for later. And then with the knife, goes ahead and cuts a piece, trying to keep his hands off of the moss carefully, uses his knife to just shear off a small section, probably bigger than the ink bottle, off of the lichen growth. Recognizing that it's probably going to flash colors because he recognizes that I'm wounding it.
So you're doing this on the lichen, like that's on the walls, or are you talking about the fungal masses, the people?
Probably the people, but I want to do it that's kind of like, assuming the lichen isn't like literally on the gravel that we're standing on. I'm trying to cut a piece away I'm trying to move a piece off of the mass as a whole.
So the mass is fungal, kind of conglomerated together, and they seem to be the center point of growth without, where things are kind of spreading out from. So the lichen is on the walls and the ceilings and starting to kind of get onto the floors. These are not so much lichen as they are like thicker, mushroomy chunks, barky,
Okay, so
mushroomy.
the fungal chunks.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, I would go after one of those. If I can clearly see that it emanates from the people outwards, then yes, I want to try and take a small piece off of it. And gosh, I don't know how this is gonna work. I want to take a piece off of it and I guess just move it to the opposite side of the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna take slice off and then just kind of like
Move
Are you
it
gonna
away
leave-
from the hive, effectively.
Okay. Are you gonna leave it? Like, how are you? You were careful with not touching the lichen. How are you doing this? Are you like leaving it on the knife? Like, how are we?
Yeah,
How are
using
we
the
doing
knife to kind
this?
of like cut the piece off and then kind of flicking it into the it shouldn't be touching it area with the knife.
Okay. So basically, one of the opposing corners of the room. So you roll me just a dexter. Actually, roll me a sleight of hand check.
9.
Uh, as you are trying to cut this sliver, you're realizing that it's not really uniform in density, and so as you're going, you're realizing the knife is kind of getting drug a little bit deeper than you had planned, and you hit a spot where suddenly a faint trickle of red starts to kind of bead out of where you're slicing.
Do I recognize it as blood?
Yeah, immediately. Do you keep going or do you kind of pause? Do you?
I pause, and I'm sure everyone's watching what I'm doing at this point, and I look at Chlor and explain. There's blood coming out. Are they alive under there?
It's alive.
And as you're talking, part of the sliver at the top of where you had started to cut begins to slowly net back together. And the blood trail dries, changes a orangey color, and then also slowly gets kind of built over with some of the yellow brown kind of fungal material, and your knife is now kind of squished between a thin piece of fungus.
Bob, have you ever seen nature behave like this? And I yank my knife out and step away from the mass so I'm not within accidental
Roll
touch.
me an athletics check for the yank.
You know, I've had some pretty athletic
9.
yanks in my time.
You are able to pull it free, and it is surprisingly more difficult than you were expecting for what is maybe a quarter-inch thick layer of material on top of it. As you pull it out, you see that some of it starts to break a little bit, and it appears to have gone denser, as if it were protecting itself and protecting its innards. And as you do, some of the chunks that break off, they bleed.
Eh, do you think the blood is coming from the people or the actual fungus is bleeding?
I think it's both.
Well,
I
if they're
think the fungus
eh,
is hosting over the body and treating it as its own.
I'm thinking it's parasitic.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we should get out of here.
We look back. I want to look back at the fungus that's supposed to not be touching anything. Has it done anything?
Oh, hey, real quickly before you got interrupted when you asked if I'd ever seen anything like this,
Oh, yes.
I was going to spin this wonderful story about when I was a child in Westeros, and we had all of these. Yeah, exactly, and then ended up with no, of course not. So anyway, moving on.
A Westerosi fungal infection.
Yes.
He's likening it to the White Walkers.
That's
I'll see myself
very
out.
funny.
I try. All right.
I like it. Hey, do I do my medicine check now?
Yes, you can do your medicine check now.
Okay. Do I get any bonus from what I just witnessed? Because that was really weird.
You're gonna get advantage on that. Let's
All right,
just.
sweet.
I mean, you. There's some stuff that you weren't gonna be able to do without know without doing that. And well, you did the thing, so now you know.
Interesting. If you say with the advantage, does that mean I get to do it
Yes,
again?
you get advantage. You get to roll again. Take the higher of the two.
Cool. Ah, so close. We'll take the 14.
One hole higher. All right, 14. This looks to say familiar is a bit hard. You've witnessed all sorts of different infections and growths and things that happen to people, especially those who traipse through the wilds ill prepared. You've seen all sorts of things from infections from insects to, uh, you know, the natural
Infections from
discourse of
snakes.
the infections from snakes, infections from unclean wounds. This is definitely up there in one of the most extreme cases of a whole body, in this case, multi-body infection that you've ever seen.
Got it.
Whether or not you know of a cure at this phase is pretty out there. Though you do suspect that had this been caught earlier on, there would have been a chance to, at the very least, prolong whatever took place, like prolong it infesting the whole body.
Don't like this. No, sir. Don't like it.
From what you saw between cutting it and the fact that there was no obvious, like distinction between the flesh of the fungus and the flesh that could bleed underneath it, there's a degree of it's permeated within and around.
Yeah, it's all fused together and mixed up and blended. We got us a smoothie.
Yes, you have a shiitake smoothie. That is what you have.
Yeah.
Pen, you had asked about the piece that you had flipped across the room. You watch as it kind of just slowly begins to darken.
Like the blackness of your heart.
It was probably, nickel-sized, because the fact that your knife got grabbed and you kind of had to wrench it to get free, it wasn't really that huge of a chunk, and it just kind of darkens and goes black on the ground. And the hole in where the knife had been slowly stitches itself closed, and again darkens with like a slightly browner, thicker looking textured mass.
Does it look like a bruised banana? That's the way it is in my brain.
Honestly, yeah, it's not far off from that. It's a bruised banana, but instead of just yellow and brown, there's like some mustardy green kind of blended in there too.
All right, cool.
And in the minutes that you guys have been standing here, the room continues to slowly get covered in the red lichen. The stalk that kind of stemmed from this mass becomes more prominent and is slowly thickening itself along the corner of the wall. And as it does, it has the branches have been slowly continuing around and outward. The faint glow that you had seen in the hallway of it kind of barely touching the ceiling and the walls, you can now actually start seeing it on the other side of the doorway as it's been creeping down the ceiling.
Is the only thing that's different about this lichen fungus its coloring? Like, can we, looking at it from just being in this cave, can we tell that it's like a different species of fungus than what we had been previously in, or is it looks literally identical except the colors?
Give me, I'm trying to figure out what the most appropriate check would be. Give me just a straight intelligence check.
In that one, so it's a 4.
It definitely looks like fungus. And it definitely looks familiar like fungus. You are not a master yet of fungology.
I'm gonna look back at you. I don't think we should stay here, guys. I don't think we should let any of this touch us, and I think we should keep moving.
I think some of us have been trying to leave this whole time.
Let's paraphrase
My shoes
Eddie
off.
Murphy. Nice
Wait,
place,
did you
baby.
say
We
you take
gotta
your
go.
shoes off?
No.
I'm
Nice place, baby. We
outside
gotta
the
go.
room waiting for them to come back out, and I'm massaging my feet.
Massaging.
Okay, well, I still don't know how to get out of here, so I'm just following you.
Hey, does that room look like it's the only place around here that's immediately contaminated? Let's start thinking in terms of quarantine.
So, short answer, Bob, is yes. Your approach to the room, and then what the hallway continues onward because that's where the steam room is.
Our favorite.
Yeah, that was a really fun experience for all parties involved. The steam room, is not far down the hallway from here, and you don't see there was no evidence of it having spread that far as of yet.
Okay. So once we all get out, I'm just going to do a quick look and see that everything is contained in there. And if I were to seal this room, would it seal fungal skunk inside of the room?
How are you proposing sealing the room?
I haven't decided yet. I hadn't gotten that far. I was going to see if it was worth doing before figuring that out. But while you're doing that, I'll figure it out.
We don't need to go through this room to get to another hallway to get out.
No, we do not. It's a dead end room.
Oh, okay. Let's just leave
At least it was last time we were in there. This is the same room that the kid was in,
Correct.
wasn't it?
Correct. This is the same room that the kid was in.
Then let's just leave it and leave.
Well, we're gonna seal it up so that folks don't go in there and turn into shiitakes.
Well,
there are
fungus
advantages.
Burns pretty well, and I start to try to make a fire.
We immediately grab Rinningham's hands and lift him off the ground and say, "You're just hold.
It's just a little bit of fire. It's
stand
just a little
still.
bit of
touch
fire.
anything.
Mushrooms burn. That's the best way to get rid of
Don't
contaminants.
touch anything."
We need a kitty leash.
I'm gonna
for-
prevent Rinningham from starting a fire.
Fool.
Hey,
I'm
are
not
you
trying hard.
actually
I'm not
okay?
trying hard.
Okay.
I'm trying
I
to
was saying,
point.
are you gonna
But
grapple?
sometimes fire is
Rinningham?
good. Sometimes.
Of course, it's
Cool.
like
I
how
don't
it
have
goes.
to look
Maybe
at any
not
of
do
the other
that.
characters and make sure that they're not preparing to go on a killing spree.
Rinningham, can you give me a perception check real fast?
Yeah. That's a. Listen. It's a 5.
He's very perceptive.
I was committed to the bit about trying to start a fire. I don't really know what's going on, like around.
Okay. Well, then never mind. Never mind. I was gonna actually try to dual sons. Just never mind.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Because he rolled so low on perception, he doesn't see me turn around and put my hand out, and seemingly from nowhere, a flash of light, and then there's a long sword with the point sticking right at his neck. And I look at him and say, "Too soon." and then I walk away.
Oddly enough, I get greener instead of fail.
Now that I think of it, that's not odd at all.
No, that definitely fits.
All right. This is actually a good place to stop for a break for like 15 minutes or so. For the Virgos you watching, we'll be back in about 15 minutes. We're gonna get some snacks, get some refills on drinks and stuff because I'm down to my last caffeinated beverage, and
Food.
that needs to be addressed because it is the thing that is keeping me any levels of functional. All right, so we'll be back in like 15 minutes. Go get snacks and be ready for whatever chaos is about to ensue. We'll see you shortly. Okay.
Yeet.
Bye. See you in a bit.
I don't
So,
need an intervention.
okay, guys, just chat. Sorry we took so long to come back from this. Two things. One, Jim needed to leave, so I will be piloting Bob. And then two is we learned that Stuart is wildly addicted to a large number
it's
of
not
substances,
an
and we need to have an
addiction.
intervention.
It's not an addiction.
Yeah. So the
I
second
you
half
know
of
what
this,
you know what I'm addicted to?
session is the
Clear
intervention,
nasal
right?
passages. All right. Sorry that I like to breathe through my nose and smell and also taste. Hello, olfactory gland is closely
Stuart, it's okay.
also
You're
closely
surrounded by
tied to your
people who
memory.
love you
I like to
very
remember
much.
things. I like to be
Oh
present.
my
and I like
gosh,
to
I actually
when
lost
things
my sense
happen.
of smell and taste when I had COVID just a couple weeks ago.
I lose my sense of taste when I have like a head cold.
That's depressing.
Yeah, tell me about it. Really affects the diet too. It's crazy when you can't taste. You're like, I don't even want to eat. What's the point? Where's my joy? For sustenance? Bleh.
No, I don't
Who,
think. I don't
who
think
cares
Stu
about
has
keeping
an
this
addictive
meat suit alive? I
personality.
want it to taste good.
Yeah.
I
Technically,
don't
you're
think
just
Stu
a
has an addictive
skeleton cosplaying
personality,
with a meat suit.
but what was that you were
That's
saying about
true.
snorting Adderall earlier? I mean,
It wasn't Adderall. it was meth.
That's Adderall.
oh, much
Your
better.
bones
No,
ache.
it
It's
was
your
meth and
skeleton trying to break
antidepressants.
free.
That's what we're snorting. Or no, we're
Yeah, I
smoking.
have
Sorry.
antidepressants and I have a meth derivative. So yeah.
They're all amphetamines.
Well, SSRIs aren't amphetamines. That's your antidepressant.
Yeah, but it's all big pharma, and they get you hooked, suckling
I
at the
kind
tooth.
of
That
agree
is
with
true. It's weird that hell, we're gonna go, like might as well go down this conspiracy trail for a hot second.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's
Not
weird that
conspiracy.
big pharma funds the psychological research that then validates whether or not certain chemicals facilitate leveling out and helping the healthy human brain. While also every so many years changing how that structure works and seemingly over time encompassing more and more people every time who could then be eligible for medications.
It's a spectrum. All right, we're all on the spectrum.
Statistically, yes, actually. Now, according to DSM-7, statistically, yes.
The thing about the spectrum is, when everyone's on it, no one is.
No one's on
Yes.
it. When everyone's autistic, no one's autistic.
I don't know, dude. I've been in a few.
Okay, but like I was
Overwatch lobbies.
ADD before it was ADD is ADHD anymore, so
Nah, dude. The hyperactivity, that's so last year.
I want to go back. Can I please have my ADD back? Because there's no H in mine other than my brain just is a little quick.
It's all AD QH plus D. All right. I don't know. Just make up letters and add
AGBTLQ
to it.
plus A.
There it is.
A,
Yeah.
B, C, D.
Just go with what you feel. That's all that matters.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, life would have been so much easier if, people had noticed I was morbidly depressed and that I also had ADHD. Simpler times.
And I'm honestly scared to like take tests because then you have to address it. Ignorance is bliss.
There ain't nothing wrong with me. Everything's wrong with you.
Which is a very roundabout way to bring us right back to what you said about your addictive personality.
Listen, I told you I'm not. I can quit whenever I want to. I just don't want to.
Oh,
Just avoiding things so you don't have to
It's
address
okay.
them.
You can tell us the truth.
Listen. The truth is my truth, and the truth is I'm fine.
on that uncomfortable note,
Very sad. Very sad note. State of the world.
so Bob is
So you're
staring
leaving a
into the
tunnel.
room trying to figure out the best way of quarantining this. Let me try something. And you watch as he kind of looks at some of the lichen that's kind of going on the wall opposite the door and takes his hand and just kind of you can see he kind of like just moves it around and just kind of you can starts to drip a little bit of a green kind of sizzling material, and then he whips it at the wall as he casts poison spray. And
Oh, so we're just attacking shit now, huh?
Okay. Great. And you watch as the lichen just kind of immediately just kind of like blackens up, several inches beyond where the spray had hit. Hey guys, I may have found a way to maybe curb this back a little bit instead of just letting it do what it's doing.
Does it reform? Like after like that part that gets blackened, does it like reform back to where it was?
As you guys watch, it does slowly begin to reform. And as it hits the spots that had like thicker globs of the poison, it kind of like avoids them for a little bit before eventually very gradually being able to cover those spots. It kind of just avoids those entirely at first.
Well, Bob, I don't have any way to poison said thing, so unless you can produce more of that poison, there's not much I can help you with.
Well, I can only do so much at a time.
Can I Eldritch Blast it?
I mean, if you want, give it a try.
Right above where he poisoned that a part that's not blackened. See if that works, I guess.
All right. So you just kind of, and you watch as it
We
just
can
makes
just
a.
attack it until it stops. I guess I rolled an 8 though to attack, so.
Yeah, that's a hit.
Oh,
You're
an
just
8?
shooting at the wall.
Nice.
You hit the broadside of the barn door. You're fine.
A 13 damage.
You
Let's go.
watch as it again darkens in that spot, kind of crackles, and you can see some of it in the area around it darkens as well. And then as you watch over the course of a few seconds, it slowly begins to go back in, slowly filling in the spot.
Bob, I don't think we can keep up with this. We probably just need to.
Wait. No. I think if we're all doing stuff,
We should probably start a big fire.
Clore, do you want to take this one?
We talked about this, Winningham. No fires.
No. Well, I can't really help otherwise.
Brinningham, give me a perception check again.
Bob, you don't really think that would work, correct?
That's an
Look,
11.
I'm just saying that your Eldritch Blast, which is whatever that is, and then I use poison, and
Force
that
damage.
seemed to work. Rinningham, you look back into the room and happen to see where the torch is on the ground and where the lichen has grown. And it has grown around and given a good 18-inch berth to the space where the fire is on the end of the torch.
Pen?
I go grab the torch and I like move it. I don't like expand the area that the torch is burning, but I just kind of have the torch and I kind of move it around and see how the fungus lichen reacts.
How describe to me the movement and the speed. Describe to me how you're doing this to help me gauge
So I
the
grab,
appropriate.
I pick up the torch and I kind of hold. I see the area around that there's none of this fungus, and I pick up the torch and I kind of keep it at the same height, but I kind of move it towards the fungus. Does the fungus retreat? How reactive is the fungus to the flame?
So the fungus and the flames we carry on. You
Hell yeah.
As you move it, as you go slowly, you can see that the lichen moves backwards and retreats very slowly. It's not
Am
able
I
to keep
seeing
up with the
this?
rate of which you're doing it. How intently are you following Renningham?
I'm watching because he's about to start a fire.
Then
If
you can see that it is very gradually going. As you inch it closer, it tries to retreat. The edges
Is
where
it-
it's not fast enough darken and seem to kind of dry out and crisp up.
Is there a spot where I can, imagining the lichen on the floor or wherever it is, can I kind of corral it into a spot where there's just the lichen and nothing else around it? And then I want to kind of like jab it with the flame to see what happens when the flame actually touches it. Is it flammable? But without spreading the fire uncontrollably. Like I want to separate a piece of live lichen.
There are
And then-
pieces of lichen that appear to be attached to food, similar to what Penn had knocked into the ink vial.
So self-contained.
Oh, mostly, yeah. It's not,
Okay.
it's
Then absolutely.
not as dense as what's on the walls and ceiling and stuff. So
Yeah. So I'm gonna tap some of that with the end of the torch as I'm chasing, as I'm showing that it is adverse to flame.
as it approached, as the flame approached it, you could see that the lichen kind of started to dry and wilt, and then it does kind of burn almost like flash paper, just kind of like and then it's out, and it's just kind of, you can see this a crust, just a burnt crust on top of the piece of food.
So as you
Renningham,
can see, the fire, it doesn't burn like wood. It doesn't burn like oil. It just kind of, and then it's done. So we should just burn all of it.
okay, here's the problem. If Penn's hypothesis is true, and it's playing host with the bodies, and they're not completely dead, and we burn the room, we kill 4 people.
Or we burn the fungus out of them and they return to normal.
On fire.
It's the quick fire. Have some water ready. I don't know.
Stuart, I don't know if you
floor
noticed this, but you're
completely
way out of frame. There.
Sorry.
covered? Is the floor completely covered? Like, could I walk back into the people, or is it expanding that
Yeah,
quickly?
it's slowly moving down. It seems to avoid the floors. It seems to stick to the walls and ceilings.
right, I'm going
it's
to
on the
try and
corners of the rooms, but
I'm gonna try and cut into the arm of the
It's not chasing waterfalls.
paternal figure. That is, you said it had the arms like this around.
it looked like basically picture two parents basically hugging their kids in the middle.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Oh,
go to
that's
one of the
sad.
parents and try
Don't say that.
and peel a spot with my dagger off his arm to see if he's still intact or if it's like grown into like the skin and the bone and all that.
Are you doing it kind of like a shaving, kind of like Penn had done, or are you going for like a full on, just like, let me just take a good old whack at it?
No. I'm gonna shave it off like I'm peeling an orange, but I want to go pretty deep. Like, I'm not trying to cut the arm off. I'm just
trying to make sure that you're being methodical, but you're being, yes. Okay, so you take your dagger and you go over to the larger one, and you can see, one of the stretches of protrusion that you imagine would possibly have been arm at one point. And you kind of dig the blade into the upper arm. And as you go, it kind of takes a second to get the knife into the surface. It seems tough, not dissimilar to when you would try to fight the previous one, where it had kind of a thickness to it. But then once it gives past that, the blade sinks, and immediately after it moves another half inch or so, you can see blood starts to drip out of the wound that you've made in it. And then as you continue to slice, more and more red. Now it quickly turns, it doesn't ever drips to the floor. It only kind of goes down the side and then turns into like an orangey color, and then it kind of gets crusted over. And as you make the cut, you see pieces of the fungus try to net itself back together, similar to what had happened with Penn. It's just your blade is deeper than Penn's is.
Okay, so I'll take my dagger and I'll walk over to the torch that Renningham is holding.
Give me
And
an
I'll-
athletics check.
Okay. 15. 13, excuse me.
The blade had been beginning to get squeezed between the pieces of fungus, and as you do, you rip off a chunk that, whereas Pen had like a nickel size, kind of like boop, this is more like $50 size, like semicircular crater of material just kind of pops out, and as it does, you can see red musculature that bleeds very quickly, and then it
Oh.
crusts over.
Um,
Oh no.
yeah, so I'll walk over to the Renningham and the torch, and I'll stick the blade in the fire to like burn off whatever's
On there.
on there, and then I'll say, okay, I think we can burn it. And so uh we'll walk out. And is there a door to this room?
The door seems to be kind of jammed because of the less than pleasant activity that definitely took place in here. The hinge is kind of off kilter a bit.
All right, well,
and there's also
say,
lichen that has grown kind of around the seams and is what's creeping into the hallway. So
gotcha. So I say, Renningham, get out, and I take the torch from him.
I
Should
get
he-
out.
Do you allow me to take the torch from you?
Yeah, no, you take a torch.
All right, I burn all the lichen off the door. Shut the door. Try and pull the door as closed as I possibly can.
So you kind of are able to get it, and you can see it immediately darkens, and it kind of flashes and crackles. And on the raw edge, as it goes into the tunnel that you're in, you can see when the torch isn't there, the burning slows down. Picture like burning grass, where like if you have a dry patch, then it goes into a wet patch of grass where it burns fast, and then suddenly it slows way down, and it's all about the sustained heat. And then it kind of goes out, and it makes a really particular stink. Now that you're burning a larger volume of it, it is a very pungent. Earthy's the wrong word. It's a sour. It's like a burnt sour meat smell.
Like burnt hair?
More like a steak that was going bad and then you burnt it.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, it's like a burnt sour meat smell.
Nasty. So, does the door open in or out?
It opens in.
So I'll go back in the room so I can make sure that it's all burnt off the back, and I'll push it closed as I possibly can, with me on the inside and everybody else on the outside.
Okay. Give me an athletics check.
DM, my athletics is -1. It's 16.
How is your athletics minus
You're the one who's pushing against the freaking door that doesn't want to move, and you manage
I
to
know.
slowly. It scrapes across the floor, and it kind of cuts into the rocky, stony dirt surface, and you can see it kind of like slowly build up on the other side of the door. But you're able to kind of get it closer and closer to being closed.
All right, I want to go all the way until there's like 1/4 inch where I can just barely see out of the door.
Okay, you succeed in doing so. For the rest of you, the red lichen that's on the walls is slowly dimming. Very slowly dimming.
I'll turn around, face the center 4. I'll sit on the ground, and although they can't see, my friends cannot see, with a tear in my eye, I will cast create bonfire in the middle of the 4 family members on the floor.
Oh, that's sad.
Ouch.
So from the outside, the seam around the door brightens up, and you can see that there's a flickering, not dissimilar to a bonfire light. As Clore sits there, and unfortunately, you all are able to hear what starts off as a hiss and an increasing crackle as the mass begins to increase its rate of burning and drying out. Clore, you hear it first as a muffled groan, before the hissing turns into a groan, and then it turns into what absolutely sounds like at least an adult male and an adult female crying out in immense pain, but as if they was muffled in a pillow.
Mm.
Just loud enough that you can hear it through the door, as the flame continues to erupt and consume the room. It doesn't take more than about 20-25 seconds for the flames of their body to kind of start licking at the ceiling, and you can see pieces of the lichen that had grown across the ceiling begins to burn.
When the screaming stops, the muffled screaming that is a little bit louder for me, I just stand up and I peek out the door. And I want to make sure that it's like completely engulfed, because as soon as I lose concentration, the fire, it's just whatever's on fire stays on fire, but the actual create bonfire ends.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that it's fully like a raging fire that will sustain itself. With the door closed, and then I will misty step out with my friends, and let
Hell yeah.
whatever happens happen in there.
So give me a Constitution saving throw real quick.
14.
The particular the smell that you had in the hallway pales in comparison to the smell, the smoke, as you are sitting in here, unfortunately breathing in all of this as it continues to erupt. It burns the insides of your lungs, very uncomfortably so. Not enough to hurt you, but enough to make you really want to retch. As you are unfortunately very well aware of what is happening as you hear the muffled screams slowly stop. The fire does continue to go and begins to catch the bedrolls nearby on fire. Some of the shelves along the wall are starting to burn as the lichen along the walls begins to burn. And you now feel that it is probably pretty self-sustaining. You're muted.
If anybody were to be looking through the little space in the door, they would see nothing as I disappear and reappear 30 feet, probably on the other side of my friends.
You're basically just
patiently
to the other side of the door. You're like right
Yep.
against the wall.
And just patiently wait for them to continue moving on.
Rinningham, unfortunately for you, as the fire in the room continues to go, it becomes the only local source of light as the lichen on the ceiling continues to dim and blacken.
I kind of get stars in my eyes, like whenever you look at a camera flash or something, and the brightness from the burning, people, kind of stops me, and I blink and say, "Well, now I can't see anything." And I kind of grove around looking for Pin's tail.
Bob just kind of turns to Clore and he's like, well, that's more than what I could have done. So cool.
Is this the way we're supposed to go?
Yeah, we're up ahead. There's a pool and it drops some flammable stuff in there and it makes a lot of steam, and we nearly set Renningham on fire with it last time we were here.
Seems to be
I remember.
Pen bumps his tail into Renningham so that he can find it.
It's dark and I find Pin's tail. It's a moment of comfort. Kind of hold it close.
Boy, you know,
I
keeps him close.
I hold no comfort, and I walk toward the pool of flammable things.
All right, so you guys continue towards the door. It's only about 30 feet down. And it's the metal door, as you go and pull on it, Pen, it just opens very easily. And you as you are reminded of the fact that the entire locking mechanism is just completely, like, you can see the charred, warped metal on the inside. From your
previous escapades.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
Our act of malicious mischief.
Yeah, that. Precisely that. So, yeah, you open the door and you are met with a warm, I say warm, it's actually a cold light because it's blue. A whitish blue glowing pool surrounded by a it's tiled like, but it's carved out of the rock, walkway that kind of goes around 3/4 of the perimeter of it. And just as you open the door and get this waft of light, you also get a waft of really hot steam as another drop of the dark gray powder material plops into the pool, erupts in steam, and you can feel the hot air just kind of like wave against you guys.
Yeah, let's go, dude.
And
Good
yeah.
times.
So, Dave, I don't think you were here for this, so we'll go into the full description of the room here. You guys are on. You guys facing the porthole that the material comes out of. You guys are on the right-hand side of this room. There's an archway, a doorway that you guys are coming in through, and then basically across the way at the other end of the pool, centered in the room, is another doorway. And so for the rest of the party, you guys know that that's continuing the way out. But for Clore,
How far away is the other like doorway?
I want to say it was 60 feet. I don't have the
big room.
Yeah. It's a bit of a It's meant to. The rest of the party has experienced some of this. It's meant to generate some sort of energy, some sort of steam. There seems to be intent to how this room works. Granted, there's always intent to how things function. It's semantics. But yeah, so the opposite side of the room is the doorway, and this room has a very constant glow. Renningham, you distinctly remember how freaking cold the water is.
Yeah, it's a cooling agent to try to, contain the heat that's coming off of this shit that's burning.
All right. So it has been in game roughly a day's travel.
It's been what?
Yes, Ben.
It's been roughly a day's travel.
You looked at me.
So
When you guys had been going, like
We're all getting
remember the
very
coal
tired.
tunnel that kind of remember the
very
coal
tired.
tunnel that kind of blew up as there was the lack of smell and then there was the sparks in it. Like that was lots of distance that you guys had traveled, but we kind of because you guys didn't have to really scout through it the same way that you guys did on the way back. Backtracking is usually way faster than the initial exploration.
Yeah.
There's a lot less
So
to explore and focus on.
so we are all getting very tired.
I mean, it's definitely evening-ish. You've put in a good day's worth of work.
So is this a good place for us to bed down, guys, or should we find a better place, or well, how
I'm
close
just.
are we to getting out of here? Like, can we push through and get out of here and then?
I think we can push through. I'm ready to see the sunlight. Get me out of here.
We Penn laughs and tries to remind Birmingham about everything else they still have to go through before they get to the surface.
There's
There's
a
not a
lot.
whole lot. There's not a whole lot. We can just a few rooms.
We literally still have to go back to the mining encampment. And then from there, we still have to hike our way back to the surface.
Okay. Well, I
But there are
just
beds in the mining encampment.
kind
There
of collapse onto my bottom, and I just sit there and kind of moan.
No one stops you from doing that. Please roleplay that right now.
So I'm just sitting there going, ah.
Again.
So you begrudgingly get ready for a rest there, Rinningham,
Yeah,
realizing that you have to go through a literal tunnel of shit first.
very begrudgingly. Through the tunnel of all that shit. Tunnels, 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 tunnels.
Okay, can you do me a favor and explain um if I can do like look around and get like the timing down for and how this stuff is coming out and fall and like you said it's like dripping down.
So there's a spout that drops a light brown but very fine powder. Not brown, light gray, but very fine powder. It's every 45 seconds to a minute and a half. It's drops in an amount, and as soon as it hits the water, it just erupts in steam. The room fills up with steam. Is the door back into the hallway shut or still open?
I did not shut it.
Okay, so it's still open. Cool. So you get a just wave of heat and humidity, and then it just kind of, every so often.
How
It's not
is it
very
like-
loud, other than just the plopping, the sizzling, and then just the hiss of steam.
So is it like uncomfortable? Like we are in like a sauna. Like it's just like
It's just under. Think Arkansas in the summer. It's a balmy 90 degrees, and just you could swim through the air.
so. Do you think we should sleep in the hallway right outside the room and shut the door so that it stays in there and we can keep cool out here? Or are we safe in here? I mean, I haven't come this way, so what do y'all want to do?
Ben's not bothered by the heat.
Bob,
Okay.
well, if we close the door, we can kind of leverage it because it opens, into the. Well, no, never mind. No, it does. It opens into the room. So then we can kind of. Nothing can get at us from that way if we prop stuff against the door since we broke the lock.
I'm gonna walk back into the hallway, shut the door, and collapse in front of it.
In the room or out of the room?
out of the room. So we're still in the
s-
hallway. Close the door. Sit in front of it.
Yeah, I also am gonna go in the hallway because it's darker in there. You said it was like just perpetually light in this room.
Yep.
So
It is definitely
I will-
darker in the hallway here.
I'll be sleeping in the hallway in front of the door. But deliberately 15 plus feet away from Runningham.
That checks out. That
That's
checks out.
within range. That's within range.
Yeah, but it's outside of my range of create bonfire if I need to set you on fire.
You think the fire's trapped in here with me? You're trapped in here with the fire. My fire
Okay.
is trapped.
I was raised in the dark. Wait.
There's gonna be fire. Listen, there will be fire.
Yeah, so sleep.
Everyone gets comfy as best they can.
Hey Renningham, I'm gonna take first watch.
I'm already snoring.
Perfect.
Bob's like, I guess I'll take the second watch.
Awesome. Hey, just wake Renningham up for third watch. He'll be fine.
That. You know what? Sure. Yeah, we'll do that.
Rittingham is on his stomach and he's breathing through his nose.
Hands on his thighs, butt in the air.
In a mountain of pillows.
His chin and cheek are just kind of resting on one of them.
I don't think there's enough pillows for Renningham in this entire world.
The nose acts as like a tripod, so like the nose is touching the ground. And then I have enough pillows to prop me up and create the second point of contact with my cheek.
So that you don't topple over. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's really tough on the neck because then your head's like this and your body, yeah. Ah, makes sense. Makes sense. Your chiropractor advised it, so it checks out.
So the chiropractor failed their medicine check.
Yeah, more like a chiroquactor. Am I right?
Wow.
I mean, as long as you don't go to Penn for chiropractic information, I think you're fine.
Penn is very proficient at setting bones, right, Penn?
Definitely.
Huh? What's that? Cool. So, I had a thought, now it's gone.
Okay.
Chlor. As the rest of the party settles in and Renningham does his usual nightly shuffling about as he tries to get comfortable on his stack of
I'm already
pillows,
out.
apparently.
I'm already out, man.
You can't help but kind of stare down the hallway where things can come at you from. And you watch as the faint light of the remaining smoldering stuff in the doorway just slowly dims. And what starts as like a crescent, half-inch wide that you can kind of see glowing faintly in the distance, just continues to darken into nothing.
As does my heart.
Oh.
Your watch is uneventful.
Bummer. I'll wake Bob up and pat him on the shoulder and try and get some sleep.
Okay. Bob just kind of shuffles himself up, sits down, and just kind of looks down the hallway. And since Jim's not here, we're not going to have any crazy introspective moments with Bob. We may have to circle back on that one next session. We'll just kind of see what he thinks about his time on the watch. However, the one thing he does do is just he takes the rest of the watch.
It's not even light snoring. Like I'm snoring hard.
You're the worst.
I'm sleeping so hard, dude. I'm just cradled. I'm
But yeah, so
comfortable.
Bob takes the rest of the watch as he struggles to even really get comfortable enough to think about sleeping.
Sounds tough.
He, I guess we'll do a little bit of this and we'll just recap it with Jim. He thinks back to when he had, transformed into a cat and had been interacting with, or is it a small dog? Maybe in the small dog, one of the two. When he was interacting with the family in there and trying to assess what was going on with the boy, and he knew with medicine and or medical intervention that he would have been all right, probably, but didn't really have any options at the time, and it's an unfortunately missed opportunity for him, because in his cold, distant heart, he does, occasionally want to do good things.
Insight.
And
check.
so,
No, I'm just kidding.
insight check, you're asleep.
Fine.
As I try not to instill too much of what he would be feeling, just more about what he'd be thinking about. Peppering that in. We'll let Jim flesh that out next time. Yeah, this is actually not a terrible place to kind of wrap up for the night, because we'll pick up with everyone waking up from their long rests, as you guys have to do the next leg of your journey back to the surface.
Okay. Thank you, DM. That was super fun.
Hey, thank you guys. I wasn't really sure how things were gonna go with you guys interacting with this section, so the dangers of the deep continue to expand.
It was a solemn. Sad.
They can't all be bright and cheery, unfortunately. I wish they could. Life don't work like that. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for playing. I'm sorry that the timelines of things has not worked out for us to not be able to play for like 2 months. So I'm glad we're back. Yeah, I should be good for next week, and hopefully that maintains availability as long with the rest of you guys. So we should be back for episode 22 next week.
Yeah.
As for any other random odds and ends, coming soon to viewers viewers like you, we will be simulcasting this stream to both Twitch and to YouTube. So that is coming soon. If you have a preference on your platform, you will have choices. I'm still trying to iron out some of the kinks on that, and mostly with also moderating chat, but that is coming. The other piece that was kind of sort of half mentioned in last week when we was just Sam, Shelby, and I talking about the story so far. Sorry if you guys missed out on that. That was not saved off, but there is a podcast version actually finally happening. I've only been talking about it since the campaign freaking started. Finally have a guy doing some editing. He's doing some great work, and when we have a little bit of a backlog to give him some room to keep editing, those will start getting released where you listen to your podcast. So we'll have them on, at the very least, Google Play / YouTube Music, because that's a thing. Apple Podcasts, and then we'll see about Spotify. But we'll take it as we can. So those are things that are coming down the pipeline. And hopefully I will see you folks on Friday for Dwarf Fortress for the first time since December. Maybe, hopefully. I don't know. it'd be nice to actually have a Friday where I can stream and hang out with you guys. Links in the chat. Discord if you want to hang out and see the schedule. YouTube if you want to catch up on the previous 20 episodes in their raw format, like here on Twitch. And I guess we'll see you guys real soon. Good night. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Nice.
Toodles.